Hello everyone, you're watching Global Leaders Network WINTV. I'm your host, Yesoe. There are many leaders globally in areas such as government, non-for-profit organization, our industry, education, and etc. Global Leaders Network invite these leaders and share their wonderful stories. Today, I invited someone from NBC 5, Telemundo. You are the Special Project and Communication Relation Vice President.
Yes.
And Asante, how are you today?
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I know you, but a lot of people probably don't know. So would you please introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Asante, and I am Vice President of Special Projects and Community Relations for NBC 5 and Telemundo Chicago. Been here in the Chicago area for coming up on 6 years now, and I'm loving every bit of it. It's a wonderful community, and it's my honor to be able to serve the community through NBC 5 and Telemundo Chicago through our platforms.
And what do you do at NBC 5 then?
Yeah, I know, right? My title doesn't realize it's kind of a little bit of everything. Primarily, people know me as community relations, community outreach for the stations. So anybody who wants to reach out to the station, has a question, was looking for a sponsorship or any sort of outreach from the station, they would come into my department and work with us on that. We would put together something that makes sense for everyone involved. And so that's what my role is. And so what it looks like would be parades. We are the ones who orchestrate the parades, are making a difference interviews, which I can talk a little bit about making a difference, but any of our positive and inspiring stories, work with the news department to make sure they get on the air. And any sort of outreach that has to do with the walks and the runs, the fundraisers in the area, all of those funnel through our department for both NBC 5 and Telemundo Chicago.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yes, and then also there are some other things, some large-scale broadcast projects that my department oversees. The biggest one probably being the Bank of America Chicago Marathon.
Oh, wow. You guys are doing a lot of things.
Yeah. stay pretty busy, but it's a lot of fun. You know, there's never a dull day. I was saying to somebody the other day, it's like I don't remember the last time I was bored at work because there's plenty to do, and it's so fun to go in every day. You never know what the day's gonna hold, and it's a great time.
And I assume that you're pretty busy working here and the parade and also for news segments,
Yeah.
What is so special about NBC 5? Because we know ABC is there and Fox is there. But NBC 5, I heard that it's making positive news, and that's really quite interesting. Can you tell us more about the program?
Yes, it's one of our favorite things. So making a difference is what it's called on NBC, and there's a Spanish version for Telemundo. Making a difference is our commitment to the Chicago area to provide positive and inspiring stories. We know that there are stories that we have to tell as a news organization that sometimes are difficult to hear, may not show somebody's area, city, suburbs in the best light, but it's our responsibility to make sure we're telling the stories as journalists. But along with that, there's no reason why we cannot inspire you as well. And one of my favorite things to say is that there's more good things that happened in the Chicago area than bad things. And there's no reason why you should come to our platforms and not feel that. Yes, we're gonna inform you. We're not gonna shy away from that. We might tell you about some crime and corruption and things like that may be going on. But we're also gonna tell you about the kid who's doing something amazing in a suburban neighborhood that you need to know about. And so making a difference is our focus, our commitment to making sure that in every single newscast there is something that can uplift and inspire, to provide positive solutions. We don't want to just bring you the problems that are happening, but solutions, people who are making that difference every day. And there's plenty of them. So we've been enjoying doing this. It's been about, we're about 5.5 years in of this commitment with giving it a name and looking at it and watching it and talking about it in meetings. And as you know, anyone in business knows that in order for something to be at a priority level, you have to put it there and actually inspect it and making sure that it's working well. And so we're really proud to say that we feel that it is definitely ingrained in our culture. Our employees, all of our story ideas come from everywhere, from within the news department and other departments as well as from the community. And it's honestly one of our favorite things. I hear from our reporters and our anchors, and they say, our favorite stories to do are those making a difference stories because, you know, it just makes the day easier. It's always nice to be able to smile, and that's what they do.
Right, but how can you find them good news?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You know, and that's so interesting because I think that, you know, when you look at a news program, you know, you'll see, you know, usually the top stories are the stories that, you know, might be, you know, there was a car accident or a water main break or there was some sort of corruption here or whatever, and you see those things. But just because those may be at the top of the newscast, they may not be the most impactful to everyone. And I think a lot of people who are watching, you know those heroes in your community who are doing amazing things, and they do it quietly. No one knows about it, right? No one is shining a light on them, and that's where we want to come in. And so our story ideas come from our viewers. We're listening, we get emails, we get phone calls. People reach out to us on the street and say, hey, did you know about, you know, I Mr. So-and-so in my neighborhood, he's always doing this, or this organization is tackling homelessness in a really interesting way. That's what we want. And, you know, yes, we're gonna have those other stories coming our way, but having that influx of these positive stories, we love it. It's a great thing. So, you know, I think a lot of times people think, oh, you know, I know this great story and, you know, no one really wants to know about it. That's not true. NBC5 and Telemundo in Spanish language, we definitely want to hear from viewers because we know that it's happening and we want to shine a light on those quiet heroes.
Oh, I see. Yeah, by the way, I actually heard the other day about this thing. It was great news that we didn't have any incident related to gun violence. I think just for one day. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I read that not somewhat recently, which is a wonderful thing, of course. You know, that's something that Chicago particularly has struggled with, and it's no secret. You know, it's made headlines, you know, within our area and elsewhere. That's one of the things that we, through Making a Difference, really focus on, particularly in the summer months when we happen to be talking about a lot within the newscasts, looking at different ways that people are tackling the gun violence from different perspectives. Not everyone does it the same way, and some may do it from a very public standpoint, but some may be, you know, doing it in a creative way. So I think that sometimes people look at the problems that we have, and every city, every area has problems. That just comes with being in a big city. And sometimes it can be overwhelming, and it's big. You know, it's just too big. What can I do? Me, my one self, me and my small family. What can I do? And I think that it's easier to look at it from the perspective of what can I do here? Maybe not the whole Chicago demographic area, you know, but there's something that you can do in your own world, in your own environment, in your own kid's school and something like that. And so I think that that's what we want to focus on, to empower people. We don't want people to feel helpless when they watch NBC5 or Telemundo. We want you to be informed. We definitely need to be informed, but we don't want you to feel helpless. We want to make sure that, yes, you're going to hear some things that need some attention, but we want to be able to also shine the light on those people who are giving it the attention that it needs and putting that positive, inspiring, solution-focused spirit behind it to find solutions.
So what do you guys really want to achieve through this Making a Difference?
I think that for me, the way I look at it is empowerment. I want people to feel empowered. You know, one of the things I say often is that if you have a friend and that friend is always bringing you down, right? Every time you talk to them, oh, this, oh, that, oh, this. You know, you're not feeling good when you're around them, right? You know, after a while, you may not be as quick to take their calls. You may try to find a way to avoid them because they're not making you feel good. You don't walk away feeling better because of being in their presence. And so when I look at what we do as a station, we want to be kind of that friend that is going to tell you what's going on. Yes, we want to be, you know, informed, and we need to know what's happening, and that's our job as a journalist institution. But there's no reason that the feeling that you have after watching a newscast should be of despair. Because there's a lot of really bright lights in the Chicago area who are doing great things. And that is what we want to capture through our making a difference storytelling. And that's what we strive to do every day.
Can you share us some of the positive news?
Yeah, there's plenty of it. I think that, actually what I'll say is that for people who are watching, if you go to NBCChicago.com and you search Making a Difference, or you just use the drop-down menu and just choose Making a Difference, we have a whole, for years, we've been putting all of our positive and inspiring stories in one place. And so, you know, if you're having a rough day, if you're for whatever reason, you're feeling kind of down or sad, which happens to all of us, that might be a good place to go, because it reminds you that there are great stories. We just the other day had a gentleman come in, and he's made some national news, a photographer who, some people may remember the story of a little girl who wasn't allowed to take her school picture. There was some controversy about her hair, and a lot of people got a lot of people's attention. But this gentleman from Chicago, he's a photographer. He took the time to do this really empowering photo shoot with her, and that story made a lot of great news. I'd seen it a lot of places, but we had him in under our Making a Difference umbrella to come in and to talk to us. I think it was yesterday morning.
I know we talk about your work a little bit, but I want to also talk about yourself. I
don't know if I'm not interesting. Am I not interesting? I don't know.
What do you do when you have a spare time?
Oh man. Well, you know, with this role, there's a lot of outreach in the community. So I'm at a lot of events and dinners representing the station, which is great. It's a lot of fun. Outside of that, with family, a lot of times I have a 6-year-old little boy. My husband, we just do family things. You know, typical stuff. You know, the zoo and the museums and all the fun things that Chicago has to offer. That's mainly where that's kind of my safe haven and my focus. At home with them.
What's your hobby?
Oh, hobby. You know what? I like to read when I get the chance. I'm notorious for getting a lot of books and reading and then switching to the next book and then going back to the first book. So I'm notorious for hopping around. Yeah, I do like to read. Yeah.
What books are your favorite book?
I do a lot of empowerment type books, or maybe some people call it like self-help or something like that. Something that kind of makes you better. I like to find things that help me improve myself. And I've kind of gotten a little more interested in autobiographies, people hearing their story. Actually, right now I'm reading a book from, now I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's by Melody Cooper-Spann. She owns WVON Midway Broadcasting. She's the chairman there, and so it's a radio station here in Chicago. So I'm reading her story of how she came to do that, and it's interesting. So things like that, you know, I'm learning from it and learning a little bit about her, and of course it's interesting to me because it's in the media industry. So yeah,
maybe someday I can read about you.
Oh,
the book.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not writing a book right now, but I think I heard somebody say you never know if you're writing a book, and maybe you're writing it. It's all up here. You just haven't put it to paper. So who knows what the future brings? Right now, I don't see it in my future.
Do you like music?
I do. I'm pretty eclectic. I like all kinds of music. I do like gospel music. It is very empowering. So, you know, it's always great to start every day with some gospel music, or if you've come home at the end of a day that was really long, I had a lot going on to kind of power down with that. I think it's just a little bit of everything. I feel like I'm kind of out of the loop for now with like all the popular stuff and knowing what's going on. I try to kind of keep up with what's hip and happening, but yeah, I think I like pretty much. I'm pretty basic. I like all music. Yeah.
When I think about you, Emma, you're always passionate, and you liked what you do, actually. You know, so I think you can write a good book.
Oh man, that might start. Maybe the next time I come, I'll have a book, right? It may be a little long. You might have to wait a little bit, but we'll see. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'd love to see it in the future.
It's funny.
Yeah. So at the same time, I was wondering, what was your dream when you were young?
Oh man, what was my dream? You know, I think that I don't know if I had a clear vision of what the future held, if I look back. I grew up I grew up on the East Coast, so I grew up in New England, Rhode Island, and my family is from Ghana in West Africa. I'm first generation American, and grew up in a wonderful community in Rhode Island, and went to a small church school, and had kind of a tight-knit world. And it was interesting because when I decided to go off to college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew, there was no question that, my dad was like, we're going to school, it's no big deal. So I was like, of course. And I didn't know. So I planned to take some basic classes to get me going the first semester, and we'll just take it from there. But somehow, some way, things changed in the fact that I needed a job on campus. And I happened to say in front of a gentleman who was working for the school that I was looking for a job, and he overheard me and said, I'm the TV studio advisor. Would you like to work for me? I'm looking for somebody to check in camera equipment from the people working on projects. I was like, sure. I didn't no reason why not. I didn't know anything about TV or anything, but it's like, you're just checking in equipment, I can do that. So I went in and I did that, and that's when I had a little spark happen inside me, because I was there and I'm watching what's going on, and I was like, this is kind of exciting. I kind of like this, and it kind of snuck up on me. I wasn't expecting it. And I think that's when the light kind of came on for me. I mean, I've always been interested in a lot of things. Even as a little girl, I was always interested in a lot of things. And I like to learn. So I kind of liked the challenge of kind of doing this TV thing. I don't really know anything about it. I felt like everyone had a head start, but I was going to try my best. And it worked out. It worked out, obviously. Here I am years later. I've done many different jobs in the industry, and to have led me to where I am now. But I look back on that day and how that just put me on a different path. And there's no question in my mind that that was the right path for me, because it's been quite a journey, and I've had the opportunity to see the industry from smaller markets to now being on a large market, city, suburban. I've done things behind the scenes in different roles, and have a real appreciation for what this industry does. And I find it to be I'm so passionate and so proud to be in a position now where my sole job is to make sure that we are inspiring and empowering the Chicago area and using the platforms of television and digital. It's like, how cool is that? So I take it quite seriously, and I take it with so much pride to be able to get to do this. So yeah. So as far as the dream, to take you back to your question, I think that it didn't really come into focus until the right time. And from there, it just haven't looked back.
Yeah, things start to change.
Yeah.
At that moment.
It's like a spark kind of like lit up in me. I remember the first class I took, it was like an intro to communications class or something like that. I think I read the book in a week, the textbook. That was like the one crazy one, because I was just so like into it. I was like, this is so interesting, and I just kind of flew through that class, and I was like, wow, that was great. I want another one, and it just kind of kept going from there. So that was just kind of my sign that, this is probably the right thing for you. Let's just keep going and see where it takes you. And it's been years, and I'm still here, still doing it.
What was your major? Was related to something to communication media?
Yeah, so it was called broadcasting. So I was broadcasting and marketing. So I kind of stayed on the path of the broadcast route, meaning television and radio. And I did some, like I wrote for the paper at school and all of that stuff as well. But yeah, it has worked out. So I say to everyone who is thinking about their future, and I always say when I speak to teenagers or on career days, don't despair. Your path will reveal itself as long as you're open. You have to be open and you have to be curious. That's what I always say. Just be curious and just be willing to put yourself out there, and don't be scared. Be courageous. Curious and courageous are my two favorite things. Be curious about it, and once you're curious about it, have the step to take the next step to learn more about it. And sometimes that means raising your hand that you don't know something, which it's okay if you don't know it. So don't be afraid to ask.
Right. You're very inspiring.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, a great speaker. Okay. How can other kids, college degree who are looking for interns or, wants to get a job in the broadcasting field, how can they get an internship through NBC5? Do you guys have any any of those days that they can apply, can you tell us more about the information about how they can get an internship?
Yes, and so first of all, I would say that if you're going to be, if you're pursuing a degree in communications or broadcasting, just because this is the world that I live in, do an internship and do as many internships as your school will allow. So just be persistent and get out there and get an internship. And yes, we have them at NBC5 in Telemundo, Chicago. And our interns, we use them everywhere, all the time, and they really get a full, in-depth experience of what it is to work in our industry, which is important. We have right now, actually, we just posted our summer internships. So we're already, even though it's cold and we're not even to the holiday, we're barely through the holiday season, we're already looking ahead to the summer. And so if you go to NBCUnicareers.com, so NBCUNIcareers.com, and then you search into Chicago and put in internships, you'll see the summer internships available. We have many. We probably get like 15 or 20 interns for the summer, and they're with us and do lots of things. Usually my department, we have 2 interns in our department who are with us pretty much full time, and get to see everything and involved with everything from parades to dinners to planning outdoor events and all kinds of stuff. And so in the news department, they're out doing stories, they're on the assignment desk. So you get a full breadth and full scope of what it is to be in the industry. And one internship story about me, just to tell you why internships are important. I did 2 internships when I was studying school. And my first internship was in the news department, and I had decided at that point I wanted to work in news, and that was just my that was what I wanted to do. And I did that internship, and it was an overnight intern for working with the morning show. So many of you wake up with the morning show, right? And you see everyone smiling and everything's put together, but it takes a crew that's working overnight in order to get that show ready for you. And so I worked with that crew, and I was writing stories and so on and so forth. And what I learned from that experience for me was that I don't think I belong in news necessarily, like right there as a producer. I did it, I was fine, there was nothing wrong with what I did, but actually the person who I was working with, the producer I was working with, he noticed that I was really good at writing the teases. So he would say, okay, Emma, look up the next few blocks and see what's some interesting stories and write me some teases, 15 seconds of some tease copy, and let me take a look at it. And he said I had a little knack for that. And I was like, you're quite good at that. And he was like, did you know it's a whole department? That's what they do. They kind of focus on promoting what the station's doing. And I was like, there is? I didn't even know. And so when I had my opportunity for my next internship in the summer, I specifically asked for that department. It's the promotion department, or sometimes they call it the creative services department. So I specifically asked for that, and that actually wasn't even on the list of options, and they were kind of surprised. And so they brought me in, and that kind of was the launching point for my career. I kind of started my career supporting the news department, but not in the news department. So it was great. So I think that internships are important to show you what you like and maybe even what you don't like to help you course correct if you need to.
So there are many YouTubers and people watch YouTube nowadays. And how does it change your business, NBC5?
Yeah, that is something the industry has definitely changed from when I was in school, and straight television, and it was just cable. Now there's so many other ways people can watch. We at NBC5, we actually are on many digital platforms. We have a great digital team, and so yes, people know us principally for being on TV, and doing the news, but we actually have platforms on YouTube. We share stories on YouTube. We play around in TikTok. We play around, of course, we have Facebook and Twitter and things like that. And so the industry definitely has changed. The one thing that is definitely still the same, though, is content. People definitely want content. So for people who are creative or want to create content, continue to do that. It may change of how people get to it. They may see it on a different platform, maybe on their phone or whatever, but the content is still king. That is really what people want. And so as long as you're creating content that people want to see, it just may change how you get it to them, but people will find it.
Okay, that answers perfectly.
Good.
What is success to you?
What is success? I think success for me is a day when I can put my head on my pillow and I feel like I have touched someone and made them their day better. And I think when you're in a world where, in business and it's all about numbers and, there's a place for that, of course. I'm a businesswoman, I understand that. But I just know that for myself, I don't feel fulfilled unless I feel like I've made someone better in some way. If I see that they're down, give them an extra smile, or to do those type of things. And so that, and when I feel like I've done a day where I've done the opposite, maybe it was a bad day for me and I've done something or snapped at someone or did something like that, I just don't feel good at the end of the day. I just don't. So to me, that's not a successful day. So that's how I look at success. Just as many days as I can, as long as I'm on this earth, to touch people in a way that they feel better after being around me.
Yeah, what brings you happiness? Something related to your success, I guess.
It's probably a cliche answer, but my family gives me happiness. That's just where you feel that acceptance of who you are, because just want to be, and that's something everyone wants. You just want to be accepted for who you truly are, and your family knows you the best from anyone.
Oh, of course.
They know everything.
Everything.
And they still love you, and so I think that's where I find my true joy. And raising my son, watching him mature and grow and figure this world out, and about me learning who he's turning out to be. That to me is just priceless, and I love it.
Do you have any comments to our audiences?
I would say probably just to leave you with, with NBC5 and Making a Difference is to, tune in to watch Making a Difference and watch our station. Please communicate with us. Let us know what you think. Share your story ideas with us. Do you know positive, inspiring, solution-focused people who are doing amazing things that need the spotlight? Let us know. NBCChicago.com is our website. You can email us. To email the assignment desk, you can just do assignmentdesk@NBCUNI.com. Just definitely reach out to us. And the same goes for Telemundo as well. If you know any Spanish speakers who definitely fit that same category, want to hear about those as well.
You're truly inspiring, Emma. Thank you for coming to our station.
Thank you. I had a blast. Thank you.
And someday I want to see your book.
Oh my.
And you can sign for me. I'm going to show to everybody. Thank you once again.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching your Global Leaders Network, WINTV. If you want to watch this again, you can watch through our website and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe us. And I want to see all of you next Thursday, 9 p.m. Until then, have a great week. Bye-bye, everyone.